YouTube Nike Quinway collaboration. Coming to y'all with that basketball analysis on analysisplayground.com and on YouTube. We're going to talk about a team that didn't have much success and had a lot of injuries last year to their main core players. And they finished 21-61, and it's the Charlotte Hornets, as you guys can see in the title. And it's going to be an interesting ride with this team this season, as they're not the greatest defensive team. They're not the greatest offensive team. Their best offensive player continues to have injuries throughout a season, and they haven't made the playoffs in a couple years. And I do believe that continues. We got to talk about LaMelo Ball, a guy that averaged, 21 points last year. 23 points last year, 5 rebounds, 8 assists. He wasn't the most efficient from the field, never really has been in his entire career, even going back to high school, in college. Well, you know what I mean, playing his semi-pro career. And it just seems like that he had the superstar potential that they was hoping that he can do. He is a great combo guard. He is a guy that can set up guys and get them easy shots. He's a guy that can rebound at a high level for his position. He's a guy that can make shots from the perimeter. He can hit threes off the dribble, hit threes off the catch. He has a lot of skills, and he has a lot of, IQ. And I think that he has got better reading the game and understanding the game and playing the game, because he's playing at the highest level in the world. And I feel like that's something that we all know and something that we have all seen. And it's just going to be interesting with this team. I think one thing they was trying to do with this roster is add a lot of size to it, a lot of strength to it, some screening to this particular roster. And it's just going to be interesting to see what Brandon Miller and Miles Bridges and Mark Williams can do. Unfortunately, Mark Williams is not fully healthy still, coming off an injury-riddled season. And two, like I said, their core has been real banged up. And Mark Williams is not going to be healthy when the season starts, based on what I've seen reported, this month as we go into training camp in October. If you're not really clear for training camp, that means you can't really play. And if you can't really play, you're not really helping your team that much, especially this team needs a big body that can protect the rim and score in the inside and hold down that paint. And Mark Williams is one of the better centers that can do that. And I feel that it's going to be interesting to see how he's going to play in this, if he's still going to have the same confidence that he had, before the pre-injury. You never really know. But all I can say is I'm looking forward to him getting back healthy and coming back to contribute with a high level of play like he was doing before he went down. Like I said, he's only 22 years old. He's basically almost a double-double, and he just one of the better big men. Like, they knew what they was getting when they got him through the draft, and I think that will continue. You look at guys like Grant Williams and Nick Smith Jr., just guys that's going to come in and bring veteran-type leadership and just fill in that gap of being able to score when it's needed, being able to defend when it's needed, and just being guys that's going to make shots, just playing off the ball. I think that's going to be really good for what they're trying to do offensively and defensively, even though this team is not going to be a great defensive team anyway. That's just the players that they are, and that's just their game. KJ Simpson is a guy that's young with a lot of talent, but he's not going to get too much playing time on this particular roster. Probably in the future, but not right now. That's only if he can keep his spot and not get waived or not get cut. Same thing with Saloon at 19 years old, 6'9", 207, needs more strength, needs more power, needs, to get the best out of his athleticism, kind of needs to be set up right now to get the best out of him. And I think that's going to be one of the biggest problems with a guy like that. But we can see what he can do. It's going to be the same problem with Nick Richard. Backup center allows them to go twin tower-ish, gives them a guy that's reliable, gives them a guy that can be decent on the boards, and gives them a guy that can be a double-double threat. He has really developed into that, possibly for this roster in their future, as long as they want to keep him. He's older than people think he is, 26. He does have the weight and the size now to be a contributor for a long-term backup center type of role or starting power forward type of role, but he is going to have to be able to shoot so that they can give the proper spacing to their perimeter players. And I think that that's going to be something that we're going to look and see if he develop a mid-range or some type of three will really help, if their big mans can be able to knock those type of shots down. And that's what most things you're looking for a big man to do nowadays: set screens, dribble handoff, knock down mid-range, knock down a three, and be able to roll to the basket and catch deep or catch dump-offs and be able to finish strong is all that we require big men to do in the NBA right now. And nothing really crazy, just be a great complementary player to a guy like LaMelo Ball or Brandon Miller, who actually played well for a rookie. He wasn't crazy, he didn't jump off the walls, but he was better than what a lot of people expected in this draft. And last year's draft, getting 17 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists, scoring at a high volume, being above average from three, even though you had a bunch of tough ones, and he was able to knock them down. Also an 80% free throw shooter. I thought that was something that he really can hang his hat on, is that he can create his own offense, he can get his own shot, he can play off the ball a little bit, just like they knew that he could, and he lived up to it. And I feel like that's a great rookie season to be that confident and to be able to play at that level throughout the whole entire season and be able to stay healthy for the most part. That's something that you would like to continue to see, and he's a guy that I can really see being special for them, as he has already shown that he can be a potential all-star, which I didn't really see in the draft. I'm not really surprised, but he really did it earlier than I would have thought that he could, honestly and truthfully. Miocic and Caleb McConnell and Trey Mann and Keontae Johnson, those are guys that are very, very young and very, very raw talent-wise, and it's going to be interesting to see what they can really do on an NBA roster, having an NBA role. I think they're going to be guys that are going to get minutes, but it's going to be a small incremental type of minutes, 10 to 15 minutes. And I think that their role is always going to be similar as guards and as wings. Can you get out in transition? Can you make your threes? Can you play great defense when it's needed and required? Can you knock down shots? Can you get to the free throw line? That's all they really need to do to be contributors on this roster. Just fill in the spots that's needed on the court and stay out the way for the most part. And Trey Mann is a guy that he wants to run the offense. He wants to be a general. And I think that he can be that, and they might need him to be that, but he hasn't really shown that he can do it full time. And I think that that's the only thing that's disappointing about last year, but he also showed that he can possibly do it, which is good because this is a long-term building project, and it's going to take some time for these young guys to develop that and chemistry. And I think that that's very interesting. Keontae Johnson is something that's also interesting to me out of Kansas State. Is he going to make the roster? Is he going to stay on the roster? Is he a guy that they even need? Do they even want him? Are they committed to him? Seems like it's no. Same with Harry Giles III, Marcus Garrett, and Diabite. Those guys are not going to be around that long. Those guys are not a part of the big plan or the big idea, but they are guys that can be interesting and intriguing to play and utilize on a roster like this, where you have a lot of opportunity, you have a lot of things you're looking for, and these guys possibly can bring it to the table without being committed to them. And I think that that's the ugly side of the business, is that the team going to evaluate all their options, and if you're the best option, they want to see and check you out, and then they also want to cut you if something goes wrong or something better is out there. Unfortunately, that's just how the game is, and you just have to deal with it. But I think that they're going to enjoy the ride for the most part. Harry Giles is obviously a big body that is very athletic, very strong, can really finish with power in the paint, can set good screens for the most part. And I think that it's going to be, can he protect the paint? Can he cover space? Can he use his big body to deter at the rim? And can he, score outside of the paint a little bit? Because we know he can dunk because he is, 6'10", 240. We know he has strength. and we know that he can get up there and catch lobs and go straight up very strong. But can he do other things other than that? And is he going to have the mobility? That's the lateral quickness, staying in front of guys, covering, space to be able to contest shots and deter people at the rim is going to be tough. But it's only because of back injury that he suffered. Is he healthier? Is he feeling more better? It's going to be the way that need to be spoken into, because this guy obviously is not committed with a two-way contract. So he's doing what he can to make his NBA dreams continue to come true, but the team is showing you that. We're interested. We like what you can do. We like what you can be, but we also still got to see a whole lot of that before we make you a part of the team, even if it's for 1 or 2 years. And that's the situation that he's in. Taj Gibson, getting older, a great locker room guy, a great energy guy, a guy that can set screens and not down the mid-range, not down the free throw line, jump shot, can actually make shots at the free throw line. He can still dunk. He can still do the basics and the fundamentals. I think that he's slowly getting ready to retire, and we'll see if he's even able to play after next season. But he's not a huge part of this team. He's just a veteran leader, and that's all they needed to be for this particular roster. Seth Curry is ass shooting. He's going to defend. He's going to compete. He's going to be able to knock down shots. And I think that he has had a great career for what people thought that he would be. And I think that he's a guy that they actually need. A guy that can handle the ball a little bit. A guy that can help LaMelo have an outlet to pass the ball and be confident that the guy can make a play or make a shot. And I think that that's something that they did need, especially after losing P.J. Washington and Gordon Hayward, guys that you thought that couldn't do that particular thing on the roster and never really fully came into the truth. And I think Seth Curry is somebody that for sure can do that. And I think that this is a recommendation that if you want to be a part of this team, we'd like to have you on the roster. And I think that that's what they ended up doing to get Seth Curry to come in. And then Miles Bridges. This guy is strong. He has a lot of weight. He's one of their best scorers with 21 points, 7 rebounds, 3 assists. He's a guy that already averaged 20 before. He never really became, the craziest threat on the court. He did only play 69 games, only started 67 of them. But, anytime you can get scoring, anytime you can get a guy that can get a bucket, anytime you can get a guy that can really play, and for sure you can trust him on the court, you just got to live with it. There's always going to be empty calorie guys that just going to be on the roster to fill in what they need to do until you can find something better or until you can find something in general that you like. And if he's a player that you can tolerate, if he's a player that you like enough to keep him on the roster, at least he's producing and being a guy that actually goes out there and play and has been able to play at a high level for the most part. I know that his numbers aren't doable on a better team, but it is good that he's committed to trying to see this thing out with the Charlotte Hornets, and they like what they see into him, and they feel that for the price that they got him at, we can't really get a guy that can do that actually wants to play in Charlotte. So it's good that he wants to play there. It's good that he enjoys playing there. It's good that he's still developing and becoming a better player, as we can see. But it's still some levels that he can get to offensively and defensively, and we're going to see if Charlotte can push him to that eventually. Obviously, they far from a championship team. They're honestly far from being a playoff team, but they are an interesting team. And the last guy is who they ended up picking up, Josh Green. He's a guy that actually makes a lot of sense. He's going to compete. He's going to be competitive. He's going to be a guy that's going to try to score and defend, and he's a guy that can knock down the three at a decent clip, depending on the opportunity and depending on how many minutes they give him to play. He's a guy that can get out in transition. He's a guy that can get to the rim. He's a solid rebounder and a solid playmaker. He keeps the ball moving if he doesn't have a shot, and if he does have a shot, he's trigger happy, so he will shoot it. So I think that makes a lot of sense. But when I look at this Charlotte Hornet team, I look at this team as a team that has a mixture of talent, some veterans, some guys that want to play, that want to prove themselves, guys that's trying to develop, trying to redirect their career, redo their career, and show what they can still bring to the table for other teams or this particular team still, because they like the opportunity that they get to show what they can do. Obviously, you need to be able to showcase your talent. You need to be able to tell guys and show guys what you can still do for a team and contribute for a team. That's the purpose of training camp. That's the purpose of scrimmages. That's the purpose of the regular season. And now we're going to see what they're going to try to do to pair another player with their superstar potentially in LaMelo Ball. Will it be a Miles Bridges? Will it be a guy that's actually an all-star caliber player that they might get to the draft? Because if they have a season like they had last year, you get another big lottery pick like you had with LaMelo and Mark Williams. You can possibly get the number one pick if you're as bad as they was last year, and then everything can possibly change within a year. Now you're in a situation where you're competing for a playoff spot or a play-in spot, and then possibly being a playoff lock. But that's 2 to 3 years away from now. They have a lot of talent gaps. They have a lot of players that can't really play or do anything to make them difference makers right now on this roster. And there's nothing really to say, but they're a bad team. They're going to get embarrassed. They're going to be a team that going to have a lot of guys get injured just to put up empty numbers. And they're just a competitive basketball team that's in a situation where we're in the NBA. We're just going out there fulfilling our contracts. We're trying to earn our next contracts. And we're just trying to go out there and do the best we can without getting embarrassed each and every night, even though it's most likely going to happen anyway, especially with their best players being injured. More guys get chances, more guys get opportunity, but this team don't really seem like they like the guys that they have on the roster too much. So even if guys play better, they're just going to use them as an asset to get something else that they possibly might like, even if they got to move up in the draft and package some of these guys together to get rid of them. Even if they inflate their stats or make them look better than what they seem, you still got to be educated as a scout, educated as a GM when you're messing with a team like Charlotte, because honestly, this team doesn't really scare me or show me anything significant outside of 4 to 5 players, which I already mentioned why I feel they're great or why they're good or why they should keep them, together on this roster, especially when they already fit and play well together with each other, and you only really need 5 starters that you can rely on the most, and the bench just comes in depending on what's needed, for your team to be able to be successful, and you always gonna have a starter out there for the most part anyway. So it always makes sense to have some of your best players on the roster and guys that you just feel confident that can help you get the job done at the end of the day. Other than that, comment, like, subscribe, share, and hit the notification bell for more analysis. If you're new to the channel and you like videos like this, I have breakdowns and tributes to the greatest players already on the channel. I also have a lot of variety of type of videos like this on the channel. I cover basketball basically every single day. So if you love content, you can't live without it, you need more of it, this is a channel that might be perfect for you. And if you've already been part of the channel, still check out my older videos, as it might be a video that you missed or you never seen that you still might want to watch and still might want to be interested in doing something with, like liking and sharing it. Keep liking and sharing so this channel can stay popular and this channel can stay popping as one of the best channels on YouTube, regardless of what it's about. And I like the fact that this channel has been one of those for many years, and I want to continue that. And I know you guys have been doing what I have asked, and that's just all that I need you to do. Keep watching, keep liking, keep sharing, and that's all I can ask you guys to continue to do. And I'm happy that you guys continue to do so. Other than that, see you guys later. The last one will be tomorrow. Obviously, the only team that I haven't done is the Portland Trail Blazers, so that will be next up. And the last video in the What to Expect series, a season preview. Then after that, we're gonna do award predictions, and then we're gonna review some instant analysis on some preseason games just to get us even more prepared for the regular season. And then instant analysis and a rundown will be back. Breakdowns for the rookies will be back. Rookie analysis breakdowns throughout the whole season. You'll be getting a mixture of content from me, and it'll just be like last year where you get some instant analysis, some breakdowns, some tributes sprinkled in there probably like we did this year, and this is going to be throughout the whole season. So it's gonna be a fun year, hopefully, and we'll see how the content continues to come out. But just remember, be subscribed, be part of the journey, and that's all I can ask you guys to do. Other than that, I'm gone.